Hello dear students, as you all know we are doing chapter number 2 electrostatic potential and capacitance. Yesterday we have done the concept of electrostatic potential energy and then we have solved some numericals. We have also introduced two electric potential at a point. Okay, today we will study how to calculate electric potential at a point at some particular points due to an electric dipole. But before starting that, let us do what is electric potential once again. The electric potential due to a point charge. Electric potential due to a point charge. Point charge. Suppose this is a point at which a point charge is there. At a distance r, there is a point P. We want to know what is that potential at the P due to this point charge Q. We already studied that. The formula is given by KQ upon R. K is constant and its value is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. Q is the charge, R is the distance. Moreover, from here, one more thing very important, if this Q is negative, we have to put minus Q over here, because in potential energy and electric potential, we always put the charges with their sign. Okay, so here, if the Q is negative, we have to put minus Q. From here, if we plot a graph to show the variation of potential due to a point charge, then obviously we can see that V is inversely proportional to R. The graph will go like this. Okay, the graph will go like this. It is inversely proportional to R. If you remember, let us do a comparative study. If you remember, electric field at a point due to a point charge is given by E is equal to KQ by R square. Here that electric field is inversely proportional to R square. So the graph of electric field is also in the same way, but it is a bit different. Now we have to compare the graph of electric field and the potential. There are two regions actually. One region when R is less than 1 and one region when R is greater than 1. Okay. When R is less than 1, then what will happen? Here, if R is less than 1, so for the values less than 1, the square of the values are smaller than the value itself. Like, suppose if I have written 0.2, okay, if you do the square of 0.2, it will become 0.04, which is less than 0.2. Okay, so for the values which are less than 1, the square of the value is less than the value itself. But for the values are greater than 1, suppose R is 2, then when we do the square it will become 4. 4 is obviously greater than 2. Is it clear? So for a value greater than 1, the square of the values are greater than the values. Okay. Now, what happened if R is equal to 1? At this point, the value of potential will become KQ. The value of electric field will become KQ only. The value of electric potential and value of electric field will become equal. So if at a certain point we have, at this point suppose we have R is equal to 1, so it is the point at which the electric field and electric potential both are equal, right? Now we have to understand that when the value is R is less than 1, here if we put suppose it is 0.2, here it will be 0.04. The value of electric field will be greater than the value of potential because its denominator will be smaller. The square of values less than 1, value become more small, and now what will happen? The square, this denominator is smaller than this one, then electric field will become larger than potential. When R is less than 1, then electric field is greater than potential. And when R is greater than 1, then obviously electric field will be less than potential, because now its denominator will be greater. So how the graph will be like? The graph is like this of electric field. I am telling. It will cut the potential graph at this point and will go like this. This red represents electric field and this black represents potential. This is a kind of comparative study of electric field and potential. We have to make this graph to understand the variation. At r is equal to 1, they both will be same. Although they are far different quantities, we should not compare electric field and potential, but we are comparing only the magnitude. We are not comparing them as same quantities. Like, okay, what we are doing, we are comparing only the magnitude. We are not comparing the quantities here. Is it clear? So this is how the electric potential due to a point charge is given. Now let us move to electric potential due to a dipole. Next topic is electric potential due to a dipole. Electric potential due to a dipole. Let us do the first one at axial point. At axial point. Okay. Now suppose this is our electric dipole. This is our electric dipole. Let this be minus q. Let this be plus q. The separation between them is always 2L. This is the center of the dipole. We are extending the axis. Let there be a point P, which is at a distance r from the center of the dipole. Okay. Now we have to calculate potential at P. The length of the dipole is 2L. Now potential due to plus q at P, V1 will be given as kq upon what will be the distance between plus q and P. From O to plus q there is a distance of L. From O to P it is R. So what is the distance between plus q and P? Obviously it is going to be R minus L. R minus L. Okay. Now potential due to minus q at P, V2 will be K minus q upon, because when we write potential we have to write with the sign. Okay, K minus q upon. Now from the minus q the distance will be from minus q to O it is L. From here it is, from here to here it is R. From here, from minus q to P it is R plus L. So it is going to be R plus L, or we can write minus KQ upon R plus L. Now we have two values of potential and we have to find what is the net potential. Then what we are going to do? Then we are going to total potential. V is going to be what? V1 plus V2. See, electric potential at a point is a scalar quantity. So for a configuration of charge, if we have to calculate the potential, then what we do, we calculate the potential due to individual charges and then simply we add them. Simply we add them. Is it clear? Because it is a scalar quantity, there is no direction to be considered. So what we have to do, we have to calculate the potential at the point due to individual charges and then simply we add them. Okay? With obviously their sign. The value of V1 is KQ upon R minus L, and the value of V2 is minus KQ upon R plus L. Now if we take KQ as common, so we are going to have 1 upon R minus L minus 1 upon R plus L. Now if we subtract it, it is going to be r plus L minus r minus L whole upon r square plus r square minus L square. Now if we open the bracket, then what will happen? R will be cancelled out. R will be cancelled out. L minus minus L, it will become 2L. R will be cancelled out. What we are going to have? We are going to have K Q into 2L upon R square minus L square. Now Q into 2L. Q is one of the charge and 2L is what? 2L is the distance between the charge separation. It will become dipole moment. Kp upon r square minus L square. This is the value of potential. Kp upon r square minus L square. Now, what I am going to do, I am going to apply a bit of approximation. We know that r is very greater than L, and in that case L will be neglected. Then potential due to a dipole is given by Kp upon r square. Okay, Kp upon r square. This is the value of potential due to a point due to a dipole at a distance r from its center. Is it clear? Now this is for the axial point. Now let us solve for the equatorial point. Now, for equatorial point, second is at equatorial point. For equatorial point, let this be a dipole. What is an equatorial point? I hope you must remember in the last chapter we have done. All the points which are there on the perpendicular bisector plane of this dipole are considered to be equatorial points. Okay? Is it clear? So let this be a dipole. Let this be minus q, let this be plus q, and let at a distance r from its center, obviously. Okay? There be a point P, and now at P we have to calculate the electric potential. Let this distance is 2L, obviously, this distance is L. If this is R, this is L. This is going to be under root R square plus L square. In the same manner, here also. Okay, if this is R, this is L, so this is going to be what? Under root R square plus L square. Now, what we have to understand here, that potential, at which point we have to calculate? We have to calculate at P. The potential at the point P due to plus Q is given by K Q upon, what is the distance between these 2 points? It is under root R square plus L square. And potential, obviously we are talking about electric potential. Potential at P due to minus Q, V2 is equal to what? K minus Q upon under root R square plus L square. Now what happens when we add them? Total potential, what we are going to have? Then V is equal to what? V1 plus V2. And V1 plus V2, if we add them, what we are going to have? We are going to have V is equal to 0. Because they are equal but opposite in sign, when we add them, we are going to have 0. From here, what we have to take? We have to take that the direction of the potential at equatorial plane at each point, it is 0. At each point the potential is 0. Now if potential is 0, then what we have to understand? Now suppose this point charge, any of the point charge, suppose a charge is there Q naught. If it is brought from P to a point Q, okay, from P let to be a point T, from P to T, okay, a point charge Q naught is carried. What will be the work done? Or not here, let the point, let me make it more twisty. At a distance r from here, let there be a point P dash. Now Q naught is carried from P to P dash. What will be the work done? What will be the work done? This is the question. Now, already I have told you yesterday that work done to carry a charge from a point A to B is given by Q naught VB minus VA. If you remember the order AB, B minus A. Yesterday I insisted so much. Now just see, if here it is P and P dash, the same formula will be written as WPP dash is equal to Q naught PP dash, it will be P dash minus VP. Now this is also 0 because it is an equatorial point. This is also 0. What will be the work done? 0. Directly, this is a 1 mark question in the board examination. Okay, from not this much straight it is going to be asked. It will be asked on the coordinate axis. Okay, I'll give you an example. Like suppose, let me give you right away. You have been told that, and it is a question in the NCERT also. There will be two charges plus Q and minus Q. One charge plus Q is at A, 0, 0 and minus Q is at minus A, 0, 0, right? And then you have been told that a charge Q naught is carried from 0, y, 0 to 0, z, 0. What is the work done? Now just see, if I make this on the coordinate axis, try to understand that. The dipole is like this way. Okay, dipole is like, here it is plus Q, as in the question it is given. Here it is at minus Q. Now charge, this point is A00, this point is minus A00. Now the charge is carried from 0, y, 0. Suppose the charge is carried from here to 0, z, 0. To here. This is z axis, this is x axis. Now what will be the work done? What will be the work done? The answer is 0. Why? Because the y axis is not as you can see in the diagram. The y axis is like this. Okay? The y axis is like this. Okay? Now the charge is carried from this point to this point. These 2 points are in equatorial plane because it is the perpendicular bisector of the axis. And if these 2 points are equatorial plane, the same logic can be applied. The work done to carry a charge from one point on the equatorial plane to the other point on the equatorial plane of an electric dipole is always 0. This thing you need to understand. Okay, so this is all about electric dipole. Now let us move to the next topic. The next topic we are going to do is equipotential surfaces. Equipotential surfaces. What are equipotential surfaces? Now, we know the formula for a potential due to a point charge. It is given by kq by r. Right? Suppose we take a positive charge Q, then at a distance r from it, the potential is kq by r. if we take r distance somewhere here, then what will be the potential here? Obviously the same. If we take the r distance somewhere here, then what will be the potential? Answer is same. Anywhere, if you going at a distance r from the point charge, what is the value of electric potential there? The answer is obviously it is the same. Okay. So now what I am trying to tell you is, if we draw a sphere of a radius smaller, then at each point on the surface of the sphere, the electric potential is this much only. So that very surface of the sphere will be an equipotential surface. So basically, the equipotential surface is a continuous surface at which potential at each point is same. And we are talking about electric potential now. Is it clear? The equipotential surface is what? It is a surface, definition, the surface, the continuous surface at which the electric potential remains constant is called an equipotential surface. Is called an equipotential surface, right? So for a point charge Q, how that surface will be drawn? It will be drawn like this, a sphere. Okay. Now we are going to study what are the shapes of equipotential surfaces due to different charge configurations, right? So first of all, first thing, due to a positive charge, okay. So how that equipotential surfaces? Suppose this is a plus Q charge. So now the equipotential surfaces, obviously the equipotential surface is going to be, as I have told you just now, it is going to be in the shape of spheres, okay. And the direction of electric field lines will be, as we all know, it is radial outward for a positive charge. So these are the arrows which represent electric field, and the equipotential surfaces are drawn and which will be in the shape of a sphere. Now what will happen if the charge is negative? What will happen if the charge is negative? So for a negative charge, second is due to negative charge. Suppose this is your negative Q. Now, what due to negative Q, the potential is given by V is equal to minus KQ by R. Okay. So, due to the negative charge also, the equipotential surface is like this. Okay. Due to negative charge also, the equipotential surfaces are going to be a sphere because it depends upon R only. But the direction of electric field will be radial inward. This will be the change. Okay. This is going to be like this. For a negative Q, the direction of electric field will be inward. For a positive charge, direction of electric field will be outward. But the surfaces are going to be spherical. Third one, due to two opposite charges. opposite charges equal magnitude. Okay. Now suppose there are two charges which are opposite. Here it is plus Q and here it is minus Q. How that potential will be drawn? Equipotential surfaces will be drawn. How that electric fields are drawn? Electric fields are drawn like this. Electric fields are drawn like this. This is the electric field configuration we have studied in the chapter number 1. We have drawn this in the chapter number 1 itself. Okay, these are the arrows which are outside and these are the arrows which are towards the charge. Okay, this is the direction of electric field. Now how that equipotential surface is drawn? Just try to remember only one thing, and the thing is, at the midpoint of these two charges, the potential will be 0 because it is an equidistant from the plus Q and minus Q. Okay, R will be same, potential will be 0. The surfaces try to shift away from this point because at this point the potential is 0. The spheres will be there, but they try to shift away from the midpoint. The surface will be drawn, will be like this. Are you able to understand? Surfaces will be like this. Okay, here the gap is more and just here you see the gap is less. Is it clear? The equipotential surfaces will be like this. Okay, they will shift away from the center, right? The next thing is the fourth one. Due to two same charges, due to two same charges, they could be positive for positive, they could be negative negative. Let us see if they are positive positive. Suppose these are two positive charges. How the direction of electric field is there? If it is straight, no. This is a minus Q. Now, how the direction of electric fields are there? The electric field will be like this. We have drawn all the electric field configuration in the last chapter. Okay, we need not to worry about electric fields. Okay, so these are positive charges. If they would have been negative, the arrow will be towards the charge, but it will be away from the charge. Now what will happen? Due to plus minus, the equipotential surfaces are shifting away from the charge, but due to plus plus charge, they will move towards, because at the midpoint the potential will be highest. Okay, then what will happen? The equipotential surfaces are like this. They will shift towards the midpoint. Not exactly they pass through the midpoint, but they will shift towards the midpoint. Is it clear? The equipotential surfaces will be like this. Okay. Remember students, for opposite charges they will shift away from the midpoint. For two positive or two negative charges they will shift towards the midpoint. This is how the equipotential surfaces are drawn. Now we are going to discuss what are the properties of equipotential surfaces. Properties of equipotential surfaces. The first property is electric field lines are always perpendicular to the surface. Okay, electric field lines are always perpendicular to the surface. Second point is the work done to carry a charge from one point to another point, from one point to another point on an equipotential surface is 0. Why is it so? Because work done to carry a charge from AB is Q in bracket VB minus VA. If all the points potential is same, that VB and VA will be same and the work done will be 0. Okay. Third point is the relative separation between surfaces is inversely proportional to intensity of electric field. Okay, if the equipotential surfaces are at greater distance, then what happens? We say that the value of electric field is less. If they are close to each other, then we'll say that electric field is strong. Okay, remember these three properties. Electric field lines are always perpendicular to the surface. Sometime in the board examination it is being asked why is it so, or prove that it is like that. So what we'll do it with the contradiction method. What we'll say that suppose if electric field is not making an angle theta or making an angle 90 degree with the surface, obviously it will make some angle. If it will make some angle, then there will be two components of the electric field. One is along the surface, one is perpendicular to the surface. Then we will have the work done along the surface because we are having a component of electric field, but the work done is always 0, and therefore the component of the electric field along the surface must be 0, and because of it the angle must be what? 90 degree. Is it clear? So the first point can be proved with the second point. And the third point is if the separation is large, the electric field is small. If the separation is close, if the surfaces are close to each other, we say that that electric field is strong. Okay. So this is all for the day. Next topics we'll discuss in the next lecture. Thank you.